Alright, so I'm getting behind the steering wheel now. And this is an all-new 3-spoke steering wheel. And just look at that beautiful curved display for the driver. And the controls as well are all new. It's not all touch. You also have this rotary dial here in a crystal finish, and your volume and other buttons are also finished in crystal. Looks really beautiful, and the steering is nice and chunky, very sporty. All right, so you select whether you want to be in reverse, neutral or drive using this little selector here, which again is in crystal finish, and it's quite unlike anything else that you'll have in this segment, especially the Mercedes, where you have the drive selector right here where the indicator stock is, and which I personally believe is quite unsafe, and I've mentioned it quite a few times earlier as well. But just look at this finish here. It's wood and with these silverish golden inserts. Looks really premium. BMW has taken a big leap in terms of the quality and tech on this car. But I can tell that it's a petrol. Revs all the way to 7,000 RPM. And the ride is really supple, so it's not just plush at the back, it feels quite soft from the driver's perspective as well. And like Abhishek said, the steering is really nice to hold, really chunky, small, D-cut and draped in beautiful soft to touch leatherish material. Sounds nice, not outright sporty, but it has a sporty note to it. Now let me just downshift manually and see if it holds the gears. No, it'll go all the way to 6,800 RPM and then it'll upshift. It's slightly on the suppler side for my liking. Too fast? Won't say it's exhilarating, doesn't feel impressively enthralling. I would say it's swift, it's brisk, but enthralling it's not. Steering has got a decent level of precision to it. I think it's softer and not as direct as the previous generation. Would you agree, Abhishek?
I think yes, I do agree with you. I'm sorry, I was just concentrating on the legroom that I have here. I am loving the legroom. When they say long wheelbase, it's actually a long wheelbase, and it is just not a lip service that they're doing. It's lovely.
But from the driver's perspective, I'm finding it a little too soft, like, as compared to the previous 5 series that I've driven. Feels a little bit floaty to me. Although the steering is precise, the feedback is somewhat missing.
So what I feel is the previous 5 series was planted on the ground.
Yeah, it's more comfortable, I would say.
Much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Much more luxurious. Feel on your palm while you're driving, it's incredible as compared to the previous generation. But yes, of course, this is not as planted on the ground as the previous.
Yeah. So guys, like it was earlier, the Mercedes and the BMW cars were very clearly distinguished. So the Mercedes cars were supposed to be more comfortable, plusher, while the BMWs were supposed to be more focused towards driving. And that line seems to be blurring more and more, because as I see it, this car is quite plush. Of course, it's not supposed to be as focused as the 3 series or as luxurious as the 7 series. The 5 series was always the blend of the two. But having said that, I really believe that as compared to the current E-Class, this is much more plush and doesn't feel quite as sharp as the previous version. So I think with this, BMW have focused more on comfort, especially for this long wheelbase version, which will be brought to the Indian market. And since we have a guy who owns the current version of the car and who seems very keen on buying this car,
I'm very keen on buying this car.
I think it can only be a good thing. What do you think? Should we do a quick 0 to 100? And we are off. By the way, this is a controlled environment. There's absolutely no traffic. Seemed quick, but not as quick as I would have wanted to be. And one thing that I can really say after this very short drive is that this is a lot better in terms of the comfort, the plushness, the insulation, and the feel from behind the steering wheel as far as the luxury goes is totally out of this world. It's definitely 2 leaps ahead of the current generation car. Feels much more premium, much more plusher, and the tech here is absolutely mind-blowing. So guys, this was the 530 Li, and the exact power and torque figures have not been specified to us, but I'll let you know. You'll be able to see them on the screen. Thanks a lot for watching. So that was that, guys. Getting off the car now, and I'll give you a quick walk around of the car as well now. So we are back in the current generation 5 Series, and while I was entering the car, I realized that the seating here is much lower. So the entry and exit in that car, the new generation, is much better than the current generation. So that again is an advantage. So here it is, guys, the all new 5 Series in its 8th generation. The car has been around for quite a few months internationally, but here it is in India in its LWV, or the long wheelbase version, and boy, does this car have some firecrackers inside. On the outside, the opinions are a little bit mixed. Some people have really loved the design, some people have not so much. But my job here is to let you know what the changes are. And the first, most important thing that you need to know is that the length of the car has increased massively, almost by about 22 centimeters. And the wheelbase by itself has increased by a massive 13 centimeters, which means that you have a ton of space inside. And for those who want perspective, this is much longer, wider and taller than not just the outgoing 5 Series but also the E-Class. Now let's have a look at the design of this car from the front. And the most prominent thing for me is the bonnet, where this really sharp crease blends into the kidney grille, and the other two lines also come into the kidney grille in a rather muscular fashion. The headlights have been completely changed, and this outer DRL also blends in the indicator. Let me show you how. Another great feature of this car's grille is this illuminated ring around the grille, and it also gets an active grille which goes down when the car needs more ventilation for cooling. However, there are a lot of elements here, and this crisscross of these lines, the colors and everything has not gone down very well with a lot of other people. However, what you really can say is that the snout of this car is longer, it's more muscular, and you can see some elements here which will denote that this car comes with some ADAS functionalities. It comes with level 1 ADAS. The level 2 ADAS has not been introduced on this car, will be introduced at a later point in time. But I do personally believe that it looks stronger, it has more presence, it's bigger, and while you're driving in the car, it may not look as elegant as the outgoing car, but it definitely looks stronger and will turn more heads with its sheer size. Now, coming towards the side, you'll see that the bonnet here is longer, and the grille from this perspective is almost flat, so the snout is much stronger, and the windscreen rakes steeply, and then the roof line goes down gently, and the boot is not very pronounced. So what BMW is calling this is not a 3-box but a 2.5-box sedan, and it does look muscular and elegant all at the same time. The ground clearance for the long wheelbase variant obviously has gone up because it now has to take care of the longer wheelbase, and while going over bumps it does need more clearance, so the travel for India has also increased. The standard wheel size is 18 inches. How do you like the design of these wheels? Do let me know. And the tires here are 225 section. A very interesting design element here is the introduction of this 5 letter on the Hofmeister kink, and there is also this surround in this bronze or titanium on the greenhouse area. It doesn't get a shark fin antenna, but there's a distinct design for the antenna here, and if you look at the top, it gets a fixed sunroof which is massive in size, and I'll show you another wonder of this sunroof in just a bit. It gets a 360-degree camera in a 2-tone ORVM cover, LED blinkers, and the door handles, which by the way are illuminated, are also flush fitting. Also, right now because of the light you cannot see it, but there's a pattern that it throws onto the ground, and it's like a welcome sign when you approach the car. There is also this black applique on the side skirts, which some people have liked, some have not. What do you think about it? Do let me know. Coming towards the rear, in my personal opinion, I believe that the tail lights of the current car look slightly better than this. They are more evocative for me. But on the inside, the boot space is quite generous at about 500 liters. International numbers are shown as 520, but here you'll get 500 liters of boot space. The tailgate is a powered type, so you can bring it down with the push of a button, and it will go up as well just by pressing this button as well. Now from the rear, what I don't like are these inserts, and I was looking at the car from a distance and it does not quite blend well with the look of the car when you look at it from behind. The exhaust door is sitting right here, and from a distance, while these may look like the outlets for exhaust, the real exhaust sits there. The spare wheel is a space saver, so no full-sized spares here. And what I'm also missing here is a power socket. I cannot see a 12-volt power socket here. Do let me know if I'm wrong, but I've checked rather thoroughly and it's missing. As you can see, this is the 530 Li variant, and internationally this car will get about 258 HP of power, 400 Newton meters of torque, and it'll do its 0 to 100 in about 6.5 seconds. The top speed is around 250 kilometers per hour. Time now to get inside this car, because that's where it really makes mincemeat of its competition, and it really feels like a car which is a segment or a generation ahead of its rivals. Let's get inside. So this one here is the M Sport variant, and as you can see, you have this M branding on the door sills. You also have this M branding right here, and the doors shut with a solid BMW thud. The most interesting aspect of this cabin is that it's not as low as the car that it replaces, and to get inside is ever so slightly more convenient. Quality abounds everywhere and wherever you touch, be it the lower part of the door panel, be it the armrest, be it the top part of the door panel, or even the covers for the speakers. Everywhere the quality is top notch. There are soft to touch materials everywhere, and even this interactive bar which surrounds you inside the cabin is absolutely fantastic. Now all the materials here, which includes this leather here, are man-made. Even the steering wheel is not leather, it's all man-made. The steering here is all new, and must I say, it looks really fab. And just look at these two screens. These are some of the most high definition, richest screens I have seen anywhere. This screen is curved and it's tilted toward the driver, and it looks really nice. It has the latest generation operating system of the BMW OS, and as I mentioned, this interactive bar looks absolutely fab. Not just that, the inlay here is all wood, and if you can see this here, this is a very high quality material. This color that you see here can be changed to your liking, and when I moved into the old generation car, I was really surprised, because this does not feel like a generation ahead, but it feels like two generations ahead. As you can see, the headroom is fantastic too, and it is in fact a really special feeling sitting right here. Feels like a more premium experience than the Mercedes E-Class. Now the steering here is also electrically adjustable, which is fantastic, and you have controls here for volume, audio, and cruise control right here. Just look at the screen here. This is the instrument console, and let's quickly have a look at the infotainment screen as well. Now as you can see, there are many modes to choose from. You have the personal, which you can personalize, of course. Then you have the sport, efficient, expressive, relax, digital, art, and silent modes. All of these modes can be chosen from. You have onboard navigation, and you have voice commands. And the good thing is that all of this is really neatly laid out, very intuitive. So you don't really have to fiddle around the menu to find the controls. Everything is very nicely laid out. You have these aircon controls here, and you also have these controls for the seat ventilation, and it's available on both the sides. So it gets 4-zone climate control, 2 zones up front and 2 at the rear. You get this wireless charging here with an additional tray. You get these really beautiful illuminated cup holders with 2 type C USB sockets, and just look at this central console. You get this crystal dial to navigate through all the menus, and it's a really nice thing. Connects you to the car in a physical manner. Then you have this volume button here and seek buttons here. Then you have the drive selector, which is a beautiful crystal lever again. Then you have the driver assistant control here, and you also have the camera right here. So you can choose from various different angles to look at the car, and the resolution is really nice. Now can you see the AC controls here? No, you cannot, because they are invisible. And if you look closely, the air flows through these vents here, which you really cannot see. And all of this tech has trickled down from higher models like the BMW 7 Series. Now, as you can see, these seats are some of the plushest that I've been in up to this segment. They're really nicely padded, and I really feel very comfortable. And I'm not a slimly built person, I'm reasonably built, and I have ample support here. And even if you're really heftily built, I really believe that these seats are going to keep you in comfort for even long distances. You have these electrical controls, and you also have electrical controls for lumbar support. Plus, you also have ample space here for a really big water bottle, as well as this button here for the remote boot release. But just wait a second. Do I see a non-adjustable seat belt here? That's definitely a miss. Now this beautiful interactive bar can be customized, and you can change the ambience, you can change the color, you can change the intensity of the background lighting, accent lighting, and it's all very, very nicely done. So I really appreciate what BMW have done with this entire UI, with this central console, with these screens, and as I mentioned, it's also very intuitive. Now, to physically control the flow of the air through the vents, you can use this touch control, and to change the direction of the air, you have these little controls right here. It's something really unique, and you'll not find it in many other cars. Now, you also have this dedicated system for the rear seat view program, where you can change a variety of settings at the rear seat so that the passengers in the back seat can sleep a little bit better. You also have a drive recorder, which is like your dash cam, and you also have this interior camera which you can use to take pictures of all the occupants inside the car. The Bowers and Wilkins audio system here is 600 plus watts and comprises of 18 speakers and sounds kick as one of the best systems out there. This also comes with quite a few console games which you can play using your cell phones, and you can just scan a QR code and up to 4 of you can play together on the screen. So in addition to this normal key, you also have this BMW digital key which can be used to get inside the car, and you also get two-way memory function for the driver's seat as well. In addition to all of that, you get this really nifty cubby hole here with a 12-volt power socket, and you can put in a few wallets and cell phones in this really nice illuminated armrest between the front two passengers. All in all, I'm really overwhelmed by how nice, how high quality, high tech and premium this interior feels, and it's after a long time that I can say with confidence that the interior of a BMW car feels more premium and more enticing than the respective Mercedes car in the segment. Time now to see how much more space do we have in the backseat, because the wheelbase has increased massively, and I'm pretty sure that the leg space is fantastic. Alright, so right off the bat, this is a long wheelbase version and almost 220 longer, which is the length of the car, but longer in terms of wheelbase also by more than 110 which is fantastic, and it's very evident in the amount of knee room and legroom you have. The seat quality is also improved, and as far as I can tell, the ride quality also is quite fantastic. So Abhishek with us here owns the current gen BMW. Abhishek, first
Hello.
impressions?
Oh, I love this car. It's multiple notches above what the current gen is, and I'm really, because I drive the current gen 5 series on a daily basis, I can assure you that this is the best that BMW has come up with, and especially with the long wheelbase, the space that we have behind as well as in the front, it's incredible and it's superb as compared to the current gen 5 series.
Well, I don't own a current Gen 5 series, but I sat in the car before we came here, and then you were driven here in the current Gen 5 series, and it was such a huge difference in terms of the feel of the car. It feels so much more modern. The quality feels so much better. The screen, the interactive bar, everything. It's not just one but two generations ahead. And for once, I think this time BMW seemed to have aced Mercedes in terms of the interior quality. Huh? Definitely better. This is the armrest here, and you also have a wireless charger, two cup holders. It goes in like this and it can be brought out like this. Very well cushioned seats, and as you can see, the seat back goes right into the doors here. So the seats are very wide, very, very comfortable, very good thigh support as well. As you can see, these seats are really big, wide and plush. And here you have these two zones for the climate control, AC vents. You have this type C USB socket, this ambient lighting strip. The seat backs are all scooped out, and it gets this really massive sunroof. Abhishek, can you open the sunroof for me, please? And the amazing thing about this sunroof is that it opens the other way, like it goes from back to front. And why that's important is because there is no hump here, because when the blinds roll, you have this little hump here, which reduces your headroom here. And since this goes all the way in the front, you get more headroom here. As you can see, there's plenty of headroom right here. I don't think this has enough space for a proper 1 liter water bottle to be put straight. You can make it lie down like diagonally. This is the Bowers and Wilkins 18 speaker system, more than 600 watts, and it also gets lighting around it. Looks very nice, looks like a nice ornamental piece. Here I have this handle with a coat hook. What I miss is that you don't have any blinds here. And the sunroof area has gone up drastically. It's much bigger than the previous car. You have these two reading lights here, 3 individual headrests, this cushion, premium materials, and this is sort of a titanium finish, high quality materials. This is soft to touch, this is soft to touch. Even the part on the lower side of the door is soft to touch. There's this hump here, obviously because it's a rear wheel drive, and then you have this space to put whatever you want, like you can put your wallet or cell phone. I don't see any magazine holders here, but overall it's very well insulated. I can hardly hear anything from the outside, and the ride is really plush. Feels like a proper sedan where you can really go for very long journeys, 500 kilometers, 600 kilometers. The rear AC vents are not just here, but also in the B pillars. And it's a really hot day, I can tell you that. And Abhishek, would you agree that the car has cooled really quickly?
Yes, I do, and I'm just loving the drive, because one is the temperature control that you spoke about. It's incredible. It's quite effective. I love the feeling on the steering. Especially this the design of the steering.
Yeah, it's a new steering, all new steering.
Yes, and the comfort to hold the steering. You feel in control, that you're in control of the car.
You'll also have this space here if you want to put up those infotainment screens, which are available as an accessory. All in all, really impressed. It's a very short drive. They're calling it a teaser drive, so I won't get too much time with the car, but I think it's a good experience to be sitting here, and it really gave me an insight into how this car feels while on the move. And it really feels very plush, very comfortable, very spacious. I would say it's not for seating 3 like most premium cars are, but for 2 it's really luxurious, really comfortable. You can see some ambient lighting here, and all of this leather that you see here is vegan, which means that it's all man-made. So that's that, guys. The new BMW 5 Series has some aces up its sleeve. It packs in a lot of space inside, it rides plusher, is loaded to the gills with high quality interior and fantastic features. The prices have not been announced yet, and we'll be letting you know the prices later in July when we do a proper first drive of this car. I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe. Now, before we go, have a look at the current generation car in which I went to drive the new generation car. Let me just give you a 360-degree view of this current gen car, so you can refresh your memory. And let me know whether you like this one better or the new one better. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Take care.